Good evening, everyone. Before we commence this session, I would like to welcome our dear lecturers, members of LILA, or the invitees, our beloved to mention. On behalf of the organizing committee, I welcome you all to the third episode of the Law Station. As the Student Society of Landscape Architecture, we have organized several events under the Outreach Event Series and the Law Station. The Outreach Event Series is based on multidisciplinary fields to uplift the skills and knowledge of the undergraduates, giving an exposure to the outer world that discuss about the aesthetical and technological approaches of landscape architecture. And the Law Station is a discussion series based on academic and professional development of VLA students conducted by the professionals representing relevant fields. For the first Law Station series, we have conducted idea route with our passed out seniors about their experience in university, academic life, the extra activities and the opportunities we have outside. Followed by the second one, Leave Your Mark. We had architect Nadisha Vijayasinghe, People Officer of Hello Clothing, who conducted a session on how to adapt to the professional life and to choose our pathway. And for the third one, we have brought Sentio Natura. So please be kind enough to give us your valuable feedback at the end of the session. The link for the feedback form is given in the chat box. So our guest speaker for today is the Secretary of SLLA, Chartered Architect and Chartered Landscape Architect, Chamara Liyanage. He is an associate member of the Sri Lanka Institute of Architects and a corporate member of Sri Lanka Institute of Landscape Architects as well. He obtained his Bachelor of Architecture degree in 2008 and Masters of Science in Landscape Design degree in 2011 from University of Moratuwa. After graduation, he worked as a project architect for HNCA Private Limited and REC Architects from 2008 to 2012. He also worked in State Engineering Corporation of Sri Lanka for a research project regarding prefabricated housing elements. Architect Chamara established his individual architectural practice in the year of 2012. Since then, his practice had accomplished many architectural and landscape design projects in various parts of the country, including 6 design projects in several natural disaster-prone areas. From 2013 to 2014, he worked as a landscape design consultant for the Master Plan Development Project at University of Moratuwa. At the present, he is working as partner and Director of Idlelark Associates Private Limited. As for today's session, Sentio Natura, Feel the Nature Through Landscape Architecture, we hope to talk about nature and landscape. Is it the same thing or two different things? What are their similarities and what is biomimicry? So now I invite landscape architect Chamara Liyanage to continue the session and share your personal experience with us on the above mentioned topic. Over to you, sir.
Good evening and thank you Kaumini to introducing me for today's session. Actually, we are going to discuss. Actually, that is not. First of all, I have to say thank you all of you to participate with me for this session and again selecting me for for this discussion for SSLA session. And first of all, I have to say that this is not a lecture. This is actually sharing my experience and I had in my previous traveling and in my university life and my practicing life. But we have to talk about design, how to design with nature. So maybe And also I have to say, all of those images, like the photographs, all are 90% of those photographs in this presentation taken by me. Actually, I'm not a landscape photographer or some kind of, or a professional photographer, but maybe you can learn something. If you can learn something, that is my pleasure. And so I'm going to start the session. And okay, we are going to discuss the appreciation of nature. Actually, today's topic is design with nature, experiencing nature, but my word for that is appreciation of nature. Why we appreciate, how to appreciate, and how we use that appreciation and experience for design. So the appreciation of nature through design, traveling, and photography. So traveling and photography, that is, I'm a landscape architect, so the students who are going to be a landscape architect, but all the people in the world are traveling and get photographs. So what is a meaningful traveling? How our traveling can be meaningful, but how to get a meaningful photograph, especially for design, landscape design. So our main topic, the nature. The nature is a major source of inspiration for architecture, landscape, product design, architectural design, all the things, the nature, good inspiration. Then the interaction of natural elements and diversity of landscape. So we can feel the nature, or we can live with. And so, and then the main thing is we are human beings, landscape architects, teachers, students, all are human beings. So we can see, so we can hear some things, we can smell, we can taste, and we can touch, the five senses. Without the five senses, we cannot feel it. So when we traveling or when we taking some photographs, we have to sensible. We have to think what we can hear, what we can smell. Okay, so what we can see. So the other important thing is the perception. The English word is perception, but in Sinhala we can tell that sanjanane, vidima, or bhava vindane. So how we feel, how we feel, how we take that essence of the natural landscape, that what we can see. So the thing is, so previously I said that we are human beings. So every landscape should have some kind of a human involvement, not some kind of a dwelling or something, but as travelers, we experience the landscape. So that is an human involvement. And then some people occupy that place. That means they are living in that place. Or maybe they are passed through. So we can tell that is some landscape has some culture. So we have to understand that culture. We have to identify that. We have to grab that culture. That is very important. So I'm telling all those things. Without understanding those things, we cannot do a good landscape design. So we have to understand that. We have to do a good landscape design. we have to understand, we have to identify the landscape character, what kind of people living in there, what kind of people coming and pass through there, what kind of fauna and flora. We have to identify that. So, design with nature, that is the topic of today's session. And then the next topic, traveling and landscape architecture. The third one, landscape photography. You are requesting me to talk those three topics. So design is about some making of things, design things, and traveling and landscape architecture. Traveling means the movement of people between some locations for recreation, tourism, research, lot of things, educational, business, trade, pilgrimage, enjoyment, relaxing, lot of things. And then the landscape photography. Photography is the art of capturing some images. So some pictures have some feelings, pictures, not the landscape. A difference between traveling and landscape photography, photograph. So photographs carries a sense of being there. We cannot go there. Okay, in foreign countries, we cannot go there. But when we looking at a picture of that landscape in a foreign country, is it a good picture? It has some kind of a sense. So we can feel. We can feel. Okay. So before starting that session, my problem is how to discuss with, how to connect with those three topics. So design. This is our final one. This is our product. Okay. So before that, we have to get some experience. Before that, we have to see something. To see something, we have to travel. So that is my rationale. So first of all, I have to discuss with you about the traveling and landscape architecture, how we experience traveling, what is a meaningful travel. Then how we capture the images while we traveling. What kind of pictures? So what is meaningful pictures? So then we can get some experience, and then we can talk about design with nature. So if you have a good traveling, if you have some good pictures, if you have some good eye, so then you can understand the nature, and then you can design some memorable things. So okay, we start that. Traveling. Before that, I briefly explain. Traveling is going location to location. So we can see, so we can experience, we can go, we can see a lot of things. Like there are several categories, like in traveling landscape. Integration of natural elements to some kind of a purpose. Purpose means maybe some kind of a function. Okay, recreation, maybe religion, adventure, transportation, maybe in defense. So if some natural elements like landforms, trees, irrigation, water features, those are sometimes integration with each other to strengthening that particular purpose, maybe recreational purpose. That's the first one. And then some natural elements appearing as some symbolic or some sculptural elements in our landscape. We will discuss in further with using some pictures. Okay. So then integration of some components, we call that juxtaposition. That means collection, maybe the fog, rain, clouds, lightning effects, shadows, colors, and water, vegetation, textures. Then those components, all those components as one thing, and generate different spatial qualities. Those words are very important for your design. Spatial qualities. What is the quality of that space? Okay. Then again, integrating natural features with natural ecology. Ecology means in our natural environment, not maybe natural, the built environment. Ecology. How that means how natural elements adapt with that. What are the changes? Okay. So then we can see some pictures. Okay, this example. This is direct. This is I select that example, the Horton Plains. That Horton Plains is a national park, a restricted area, a sanctuary, but the people using that space for one purpose, recreational purpose. Okay, so what is the main thing? That means what is the main character? The remarkable flatness. Okay, we can see some terrains and some landforms, water features, and escarpments. So people use that collection of spaces with the vegetation, water features, and they use that space for adventure. It actually feels some dynamic as a dynamic space. Freedom. So people use that space for to experience lot of things. But the important thing is the recreation is there, but there are no any human involvement. That means dwellings. There you cannot find a culture, human culture. There are some fauna and flora, habitats of some insects, birds, animals, but no any dwellings of people. So we cannot see a culture. That is a very important thing. And then knuckles range. Knuckles range is also, there are some similarities with the Horton Plains, with some land for the formation of the land, but the vegetation is different because the climatic regions, the locations. But in Knuckles range, we can see some adventure feeling spaces, relaxation, dynamic spaces, freedom. We can experience that all, but in Knuckles we can find a culture, human culture, because there are some human dwellings, hidden dwellings, dwelling in lot of spaces. That is the important thing when you are designing. If you can find some kind of a human culture, you have to understand, you have to obey with that. You have to get some information. Okay. So that is very important. So then, I think that is very popular among you, the railway journey, Colombo-Badulla railway journey. I select that because we experience that traveling experience. Actually, the basic thing is transportation. We travel by a train, maybe not for recreational, maybe for some kind of a official purpose, education, research, just for traveling. But the sceneries, the landscapes, the characters, the collection of characters we can experience within 8 hours. Colombo to Badulla, the changes of climate, the changes of climatic regions in Sri Lanka, transformation of the vegetation and landforms. So, and also the important thing is the architecture and the engineering structures. Okay. So there are some mechanical things. So that is integrated with the landscape. So we have to grab that. So when we going to design something with that railway track or maybe some railway station landscape, maybe, I don't know. But first of all, we have to understand the essence, because that railway track was built by the British. Willingly or not willingly, they appreciated the nature, in my observation. Without that, this kind of a railway track is one of the best railway track, one of the scenic railway track in South Asia, Colombo-Badula Railway. Without that appreciation, this kind of railway track will not be existed, I think. So how we experience some landscape while moving, that is the best example. So then we coming into religious landscapes. So Sri Pada, Adam's Peak, and so Adam's Peak is a collection of some very powerful landscape elements, like it is an isolated mountain and full of natural integration of natural features, and I selected some religious landscape in Sri Lanka, not for one religion but 2 or 3 religions. The Thevatta Church, the Anuradhapura, it is located in dry zone. Thevatta Church is, I think, located very near to Colombo, and Poneshwaram, located in Trinco. The backdrop is completely different. The backdrop and the foreground and the environment, the location is very important for that function. We are talking about the function, religious, the pilgrimage, religious activities, how the natural landscape, natural elements strengthening that function. That is the essence of that pictures, essence of that discussion in that part. So you can see there are some different feelings, completely different feelings. So how landscape as a function defense, when we're talking about defense as a function, how landscape elements involved with that Sigiriya. I think you all visited. No need to talk much more, but you can feel what I can say. And symbolic elements, how natural landscape can consider as symbolic elements. Those kind of things we also need to identify. Very quickly we have to identify. The important thing is, I think you may know the names of those symbols. Toppigala, Galapitagala, with the Westminster Abbey, and Lakegala. Okay. Batalegala. The important thing is the stories, some myths. Maybe some of the Lakegala has some stories about Ravana and the geographic location in the world. I don't know. Those stories may be true. So that is the essence. Okay, Batalegala has also some link with Ravana and the other stuff. Toppigala is the same. Okay, that is very interesting. If you grab some kind of information, maybe those are very popular things, but anywhere in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is rich with a diversity of landscapes, plant forms, vegetation. So everywhere we can see some symbolic landscapes. Some places are no have any names, but you can create a name. Okay, with your landscape design, you can create some kind of a name and some kind of a story. So those are very important. And then how we essence of other natural elements while we traveling. So the fog, the mist, and some sun rays, clouds, natural terrains, and maybe vegetation, flowers. So those are also very important because the feelings are different, the experience will be different. And then the natural ecology. So how the wind can affect for a landscape. For example, in the whole place, you can see a picture in the left-hand top due to the high wind. And then the middle picture, the water, the rock formation and water. So we called in Sinhala Galwane. Those are actually the timely effect. And then the pollination. In the top middle picture, the effect of the wind and pollination. The casuarina plantation, we can see in those plantation in our country. So directly for wind effect. So that is nature, the humane, blowhole, and waterfalls, and sea waves, sea currents. So the landscape integration, how the vegetation will change. So in some landscape, we have to understand directly. We cannot see, but when we carefully looking at our environment, immediate environment, we can understand. So we previously talked about the traveling. While we traveling, what are the things, what are the characteristics we have to grab, and then how we capture that. The capturing is landscape photography. So there are several categories in landscape photography. So again, I have to say I'm not a photographer or I'm not a professional for that field, but most of the pictures I have previously shown you taken by me. I don't have any good at least a camera. Sometimes in my digital camera, small digital camera, and sometimes in my smartphone camera. That is the only way. Still, I haven't a good camera, but I captured some, maybe as per my feeling, I captured some good pictures and then I shown to you. And so we can discuss what are the categories of natural landscape photography. Sorry, landscape photography. The first one is natural landscape. So previously we discussed a lot of things and capture some images of the natural landscape, like coastal landscape, desert landscape, forest, mountain. That is natural landscape photography, and we all know that. And the second one, astrophotography. That is capturing some big pictures, big images with some sky, maybe stars and maybe the moon, sun. Astrophotography with the sky. And some architectural landscape photography is taking pictures with structures or buildings, cityscapes, dams, and some bridges. That. So the fourth one is it is important. The impressionism. It is actually a style. That kind of photography, that kind of photographs that will evoke some feelings. For example, actually those kind of photographs actually very important for build up some kind of a theme for a design, or build up some kind of some abstract feelings, okay, or maybe some concepts. That is important. Representationally, we are adapting the climatic changes. If we actually, the pictures are very realistic. With the rain, with the fog, maybe the pictures will be blurred. Then the minimalistic landscape photography, then that is also important. Minimalistic is less is more. That is, those kind of pictures have some 2 or 3 components in the natural elements, but it is very nice, and it evokes some feelings also. And abstract landscape photography, that is also important. Abstract means maybe when we taking pictures in a rock cut or some textures, some shapes of a plant form or a tree, part of the tree, the foliage, the form, pattern, line, maybe some colors, very sensitive pictures. That is also important for generate some themes or some concepts, aesthetic parts. And the aerial landscape photography, the most important part, because aerial landscape photography, we need some advanced photographic technologies like drone cameras. Okay, the important thing is all the other photographic categories are we can go there and easily we can take some pictures, but in aerial landscape photography, we have to use drone cameras or something else, but we have to go to a top of the mountain or something. But those kind of pictures are very important to understand the big picture. That means the landscape character, the character of the landscape. What are the what is the main thing? What is the dominated character of the selective landscape? And then travel landscape photography. We previously discussed that the culture or the social behavior, the social environment is very important, because when we taking those kind of pictures, always we have to try to tell some story to the rest of the world. Maybe the life of the human, the habitat. That is the essence of that. The final one, the climatic changes and landscape photography. That is important to capture the powerfulness of the changes of the climatic features, like lightning, storm, rain, high winds. Those kind of pictures are also important to generate feelings. So that is a brief. Actually, those are the brief discussion of the category. So those are some few examples. Some of them are not taken by me, but a lot of pictures are taken by me. And the natural landscape photography, the structural, architectural or structural, there is Kotmale Dam. And in the left-hand side bottom corner, that is Voltume Devale, that I selected that picture for impressionistic photograph, because the form of the tree, no leaves, only some kind of a structure, skeletal of the tree, and the Devale, that is Boltume Devale, located in Balangod area. The Boltume Devale is important for the stories telling the Ravana's flying machine. The Danumonare the machine was hidden in the inside of that Devale. So I think, I don't know the picture was taken by me. It's telling something, the story. And then the abstract landscape, the left-hand side, the minimalistic landscape, very minimal things, the water, vegetation, and the mountain, and the sky. 4 things. There are no any disturbance, reflection. And the left-hand side, the abstract images. Actually, that is the color changes in the beach, the pattern of the color pattern of the sand. And then the sea area, the rock, the escarpment of Sigiriya and the sky. Only two main components and a very small glimpse of the handrail. That means the human involvement. So then we come into the aerial photographs. Aerial photograph. The only picture I have taken in the left-hand corner, the Sigiriya, from the top of Sigiriya. Others are not taken by me, but those are very important. When you are traveling or when you looking at a picture, those are very important. That we can understand the big picture. The middle picture is Loggalloya. It is a reservoir and located in the dry zone. And you can understand what are the main components of the reservoir as students, how the vegetation pattern will apply. So then the Adams Peak. Then the left hand, the Kaluthara area. The Kaluthara area, we can understand the big picture of Kaluthara. So the Kaluthara is Kaluthara, the place that Kalu River meets the sea. So the middle island, and then the sandbar and the beach and the small lagoon. So we can understand the dominating feature is the river mouth. So look at the scale, look at the vastness of the river mouth. So that is the big picture. So when we doing something in that landscape, the predominant one, we have to be careful. So if our landscape will going to change that setting, change that ecological setting, the results will be a disaster. So that's why I'm showing those pictures. The right hand side is Manampitiya. So you can the Mahaveli River. So you can see the I think in Sinhala wordings, the Vakkalama, the sand, the formation of sand, and actually the reason for that is the speed of the river and the terrain, very small slope. So we have to understand the setting. Those are very sensitive environment for vegetation and the natural habitats, the wild animals. So then the left hand is row muscle. You can see that how the environment will going to a disaster. The buildings and the natural setting, the construction and the development are completely ignored the natural setting. And then the right hand side, the Kantala area. What is the formation of the paddy field? What is the pattern of the paddy field? What are the vegetation and where are the dwellings located? So those kind of pictures are very helpful to us to understand the big picture. And then I selected some collection of slides. So to share my experience while traveling, these are very small villages in Balangod area, the Tanjantan. It has unique features like it has a human culture, the roadways, hidden roadways, the structures, paddy fields, mountain range, and a lake with some habitats, wild animals, and some stories about there are some evidences in the past. It is a different landscape character. And then a completely different one, the Dambetan area. It has some line rooms. It has some human habitats, human dwellings, roadways, and cultivations. And the environment is full of mist and fog. So we have to adapt the landscape when we are going to do some design in this kind of an area. And again, the knuckles range. This is those pictures are taken in Valpolamulla. Unfortunately, in that village, we don't have any dwellings now. The people left that village due to wild elephant attacks and the lack of infrastructure. Actually, those pictures are nearly 10 years old now. So it has a different culture. When we compare it to the previous one in Dambetan area, those culture is very different. So you have to understand, you cannot use same elements for Dambetan and this kind of an area. The culture is different, the landscape is different, the environment, all are different. You have to understand that. So then a different kind of one in particular area. This area affected by tsunami in 2004. Still, there are no before tsunami. This place has some good dwellings, full of houses. But after 2004, all the things are gone. But only the memories are remains in that area. You can see the remains of the wells. Each house has each one well. So only the wells, the structure of the wells still remains. And but the people cannot leave that space because their occupation, their relation with the sea, they cannot left that. And their cattle are still coming into the beach and for feeding. And then this is Mana. That area was not affected by tsunami, but this is a different thing. This is a different culture because those people, and those temporary houses and the lands, those people are actually brought that area after the war. That is a different culture. Okay. So the vegetation, the pattern of the vegetation, the feelings that when we looking at that vegetation, that is a different thing. Actually, those are actually, in my experience, when we doing something in that area, that those pictures are told me some story, helps to develop some concepts and to develop some theme. So, for example, the jogging tracks, broad walks, the gathering space, we need some gathering spaces, but in that area, all of those spaces, all of those elements are not important. Okay, just one example. So then the powerfulness of nature, the other category. The nature is very powerful. The lightning, you all know that the lightning, the tsunami is the best example. The powerfulness of nature, the lightning, the fire, the wind. Sometimes we cannot understand, we cannot believe the power of nature. And then the very little example, that the right-hand side picture that was not taken by me, but the left-hand side one, the right-hand side was taken by me. Within 3 minutes, the Dungida was completely changed in front of our eyes. You can imagine the power of the water, the speed, and how the environment got changed within 3 minutes, 3 or 4 minutes. So then we came into the main topic. So we traveled and we captured some images and got some experience and got some identification, got some ideas, and then we can talk nature. So the designers, engineers, scientists, they always get some inspiration with nature for product design, some processes, building spaces. So the important thing is the scientific background, the science, the knowledge. So as when we summarizing that, while traveling, we understand the landscape character, we understand the natural elements and their integration, and then photography, we captured those things and we recorded our experience and we recorded our memories. Okay, so then we integrate those things with scientific things and knowledge. Okay, that means some dimensions, weights, and the lot of things. And then we need some function. We are design things. We are design buildings and products for some kind of a function or some kind of a need. So we need some kind of a function or a need. So then we have some design skills. As a designer, we need some skills to integrate all those things. So very simply, this process is actually a process. Experience, nature, scientific things, knowledge, function. The final product is some kind of a good design. That process we called inspiration with nature. We called biomimicry. That is not a definition. That is a very simple thing, because that is not a lecture. This is a discussion. And why we doing that? Why we inspired from nature? Why we need some traveling experience? Why we need taking pictures? Those kind of things to do good design. So if we inspired from nature, that design will be some kind of a memorable thing, and it adds some value to the design. Okay, that is the thing. Value added design. So the patterns of the nature, colors, textures, changes, and the previous one is about some plants, and then animals, the shapes of the animal, their habitats, dwellings, and then the shapes of some shells and landforms, and the fire, water, cosmos. Cosmos means the sky, clouds. And then we go to some, then we inspired from those things, we can go to some product designs, fashion, and then some architectural designs. Then architectural plus landscape designs for many functions like recreational, sports. The previous one is designed for sports, very special sport event. And then those are some few examples. The process, the understanding of the beetle and his the biology and the geometry, and then how the selecting materials. Then we came into some kind of an inspirational design. Actually that was called biomimicry. Actually, this is a not easy task. It is when you're looking at the slide, you can think that is a very simple process, but I think that is not an easy task. You have to understand the geometry. You have to correctly understand the changes of the color. Okay, then that design should have be directly combined with the function. What is the function? That is another example. The ancient tree pavilion. That structure is looking as some kind of a very giant structure, like our nougat tree. So okay, again, another example inspired from the sea waves, but it is not completely a sea wave, but the shapes and the spaces, they use that very well. And again, two examples I have taken from in our country. The adaptation, how we adapt with the landscape and how we going to do our design without breaking that natural setting and appreciating that natural setting. That I means that framing some episodes, the images, and the we cannot spoil the essence of that place. So we have to decide what is the most suitable material, what is the most suitable geometrical shape, what is the height, elevation. Okay. Actually, we cannot use the same thing for different things. Like we cannot use pavings for every spaces. That is a disaster for me. Using pavings for everywhere. Okay, we have to be careful. We have to select some material. We have to identify. We have to found some new materials, new ways. And the colors, especially, we have to integrate with the environment, with the landscape. We are going to design how we select the colors. And the other one, actually, that was done by me for Anuradhapura without doing any disturbance to the natural landscape. We all know that Anuradhapura has it's a remarkable landscape with the flatness and some monuments, the view of the sky, and we feel some natural colors. That is the concept for me. And actually the social life, we can found some kind of a life in Anuradhapura area, because that is a pilgrimage area. So I concern those things, and I don't know how people appreciating that. Or maybe you have some comments for that. Actually, I like to hear some comments. I don't know, but I am satisfied with that. And the colors, I select the colors without with merging the earth colors, and the elevations, not disturbing the dominating monuments. And I think actually I really enjoyed with that. Actually, in Sri Lanka, we cannot, actually we have not know any good chance to do or some experiences, because in foreign countries we can see a lot of inspirational design. In Sri Lanka, we can see some product designs, fashion. They are using some natural elements and natural features for inspiration, but in landscape, still we can't see a good one. So otherwise, we are waiting for some chances. So you are the students, and you are our future. So in the future, if you can get some chances, you can do some good things. So I'm going to conclude that my discussion. Observe the nature, experience it, feel it, and capture it. So then you can do a good design. Try to grab some kind of a theme or a concept. As a design tutor, I know you are confused with talking about concepts. So in first year, especially in the first year, it is natural, it is general, but concept is not few or 1 or 3 words. So you have to understand, you have to grab that, the essence. So then that is the end of my discussion. I don't know if you grab something with that, it is my pleasure. And thank you. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time and sharing your experience with us. I'm sure that many of us found it to be inspiring. And I will remind our dear audience again to find the link for the feedback in the chat box. Your feedback is valuable for us to improve the session. So let's move on to the Q&A session. And please put your questions in the chat box. Okay, so for the first question, we have what are the must-visit local landscapes for us as landscape architecture undergraduates?
Can you tell that again? I'm not clear.
What are the must-visit local landscapes for us as landscape architecture undergraduates?
What are the most visited, most suitable places?
Yes.
You mean? Undergraduates. So how I answer that? Actually, I cannot directly say. I think you have to. Okay. Select some different themes, like for example, Horton Plains. Okay, Horton Plains is located in the up country. It is the setting is different, and then you can select one place in the intermediate climate intermediate zone, like Balangoda or something. Yeah, because or in Matale area. Matale area is very different. I also very like that area because the it has some collective landscapes and Matale. And then I like if you can go Adams Peak, not in Ratnapura Road or Hatton Road. If you can go in through Avisavela, Dharaniyagala Road, or in Mukkuwatta. I don't know you heard about those things. In Mukkuwatta Road, it is a very not popular. That road is not popular, but some of them are heard about that, because in Mukkuwatta, in all those area you can find some dwellings of the people with some different kind of a culture, because their living style is different, and they are the land settings, architecture, village settings, their language, and all those, their food culture, all are actually, you can learn a lot of things. All those are landscape. The landscape is not trees, pavings, and lighting and roadways, the decks. That is the area is very broad. So again, if you can visit Mana. Mana is also very different kind of landscape settings, like Ramsar wetlands. The people are very different. Actually, some of the people cannot understand English or Sinhala, even Sinhala. The communication is very poor. Okay, then you can go to Mulathiv or Vellamulli Vaikkal. That is the people are very different, again very different, and the landscape is totally different. Don't know if you can visit everywhere in Sri Lanka. In my life, now I am 40. In my life, in my university life, actually, in my fourth year, I think lot of visits. If we get an assignment from our tutor or a lecturer, actually we make some kind of a visit. We transform that as a trip. So I think first years they have a good chance, but I don't know. It is now in the COVID season, you miss a lot of things. It is an unfortunate. And the Ampara is a very nice area to visit, because it has some individual mountains, rocks, and some reservoirs, sanctuaries, and villages, individual villages, and also in Dehiyattakandiya, Girandurkotte. And those are very interesting and different places. Manampitiya, Valikanda, the Mahaveli Basin, the lower part. That means the Handapan, Villua, and then the Ambanganga. Those then the Moragahakanda, the Alahara in Polonnaruwa district, Alahara, the Yodala Basin. It's a very nice area. The Bakamuna, Alahara Bakamuna road is a very, very nice roadscape. It has. In Alahara area, we can see some special things in the technologies related to irrigation, and the ancient structures and human habitats, the with different kind of a social setting, paddy field setting, and I think, and then again Randenigala, the Rajamawat area, old Badul Road, Rajamawat. We can find some, I think, Randenigala, Rantambe, Minipe Ala is completely a very good one to visit and observe. The Minipe Ala. That is completely a irrigation landscape, irrigation-based landscape with some habitats. So I think there are a lot of things. I can't divide that. That is the most suitable place. That is not good. You can try those places and you can learn a lot of things.
We have our next question. Is there anything you have to mention about coastal landscape?
Coastal landscape, what kind of things? Like
how about traveling in coastal landscape?
I think in Colombo, Mahatara, Galle, I think those areas are now spoiled and we cannot observe the natural things. Those landscapes were changed due to tourism developments, and in some parts they removed the vegetation. And I recommend, if you are going to look at the coastal landscape, experience the coastal landscape, the Batiklo area is very suitable, because some parts are not still touched by men and unspoiled. And the Mana is a very nice place for experience and observe the coastal landscapes. Puttalam to Mana. Puttalam, after you passing Nigambo, then Hala, then Chilav, and then Puttalam. Puttalam to Mana is, you can see the transformation. Okay, because in Vilpattu you can see some different kind, some different setting of the coastal landscape. That means the location around the Doric bungalow. It's a very old building, and also in Hambantota, the Ussangoda to Hambantota. It is also a good place to visit. Still unspoiled, but there are some lot of hotels in that area. But there are in some some places are remains as same with some sand dunes. Okay, any more questions?
Have these landscapes changed due to COVID? If they have, is it a positive change?
Sorry, COVID, what?
Have these landscapes changed due to COVID? If they have, is it a positive change?
I don't understand that question. Ingalen අහන්න කියන්න බැරිද ඔය ප්‍රශ්නේ? COVID නිසා යන්න බැරි නිසාද?
COVID නිසා මේ landscape වලට මොන හරි වෙනසක් වෙලා තියෙනවද? එහෙමනම් ඒක positive වෙනසක්ද?
COVID. As per my opinion, as per my observation, due to COVID, lot of the tourism is the most affected one due to COVID. So some of the construction, especially the construction and changes, those are temporarily stopped now. That is a plus point, but we cannot accept that because the tourism is the most valuable economical component in our country. So we have to do the tourism while remaining the natural scenic landscapes. The thing is, the way is not correct in some places. But in the COVID situation, some places were abandoned by the clients and abandoned by the owners, and because they have not no any income, and some of the places are not visited by people now. Some of the places, especially the roads through the wild, and some of the roads are now completely closed, and the dumping and the garbage is not not spread in the coastal areas in the COVID situation. But now again, all those are changed. In Sri Lanka, I can't observe any plus point for the landscape, obviously, because our people are very different. But the important thing is how, as students, how you experience the nature with that COVID situation. That is my question. Because I observed in the previous CDP and the MDP, the madams and the masters saying before starting the Chamara, the students unable to go for the sites, and some of them have some virtual sites. So that is my question. How you feel that site, how you experience, how you observe that site. As okay, no problem, that is an academic session, academic project, you can do anything, but one day you have to go to the real world. So then how you do that? I would like to share my experience with you, because in Batiklo, in a project in Batiklo, they can't talk with in Sinhala. Some of them cannot understand English. So also we cannot talk in English at that time. So some people are actually they got angry because they are not understand what we are saying that. So then fortunately our team member can talk in Tamil. So he told that, so that is the thing we are going to do. So then they are very happy. So that is the thing. So the people are very different, but in manner, That is, the nature is completely different. The food culture is completely different. So without that, how we can propose some functions, like some activities for them without going there? Okay, so that is my question. There is a very small examples. And in some areas, we have to face some caste problems also. Some people say, "Mahathya me පැත්තට එන්න එපා, අර පැත්තේ ඕන දෙයක් කරගන්න." Okay, they are very beautiful landscape. Our designs is also, there are some pathways, a very resting area, irrigation stuff that is very helpful for the people. But they are saying, "Me පැත්තේ එපා, මනින්නවත් එපා, ඔය පැත්තේ අනිත් පැත්තේ ඕන දෙයක් කරගන්න." So how we going to do designs? How we going to do some proposals without going there, without talking people? Talking with the people is very important. Sharing the ideas. Any more questions?
Any examples in Sri Lankan landscape designs inspired from nature?
Inspired from nature. In the present times, I cannot observe. We can see some architectural buildings. Few architectural buildings inspired from nature, but not completely inspired by nature. There are some small characteristics, but landscape designs are very few. We can see one small thing in Diyavanna, the bus hold. It is something, it has some kind of a glimpse of a leaf, Kesel Kole. And then, actually, I not remember at that time, but very few things, like only the elements. That is a problem. In ancient designs like pagodas, I think with Chaitya, it is inspired from nature. I think we call this Bubulakara, Dhanyakara, Gatakara. That is a very primitive one, very superficial one. But I think actually I learned that landscape architect Sherry Namendra, she had a very good description of how Ruwanvelisaya, how they do the design of Ruwanvelisaya. What is the technique? What they get from the nature? What is the actual purpose of Ruwanvelisaya? Actually, we cannot understand. We can't understand in our first sight. This Dagaba is inspired from nature, but the essence was there. Okay, that is the old technology, and the reservoirs, the irrigation landscapes. Actually, that is also it has some inspirations also. The speed of the water, the terrain, that is also a way of inspiration. Without that inspiration, we cannot do the cascading systems, irrigation landscape, ancient irrigation landscape. In the present times, the modern one, not modern actually, the contemporary one, the Mahavali landscape, the Mahavali River, the reservoir system, Polgolla, Kotmali, Polgolla, Randanigala, Victoria, Randanigala, Rantame, Minipe. It is inspired by nature actually, inspired by the pattern of Mahavali River, the speed, the terrain, the land formation, elevation, and the human habitats. Then they decide where to put the dam, how to collect water. Okay, how we decide the canal system. Okay, and that's why I'm telling you the to study the Minipe Ala, the Manimekala Amuna, the Ford. That is very interesting thing. But the pictures I have shown you, the Beetle, Pavilion, those kind of things are actually still not, we cannot see in Sri Lanka, that kind of things. Actually, you can propose, you are still students, and in the future you can do some good things. Planetarium is also, I think, Grahalokagari. It has some kind of a glimpse. Any more questions?
I think so that's all. So thank you again, sir. I personally enjoyed this session immensely. I think the others did as well. And now I would like to invite someone from level 1 to give us your feedback on the session.
Yes. I would like to say the session was very insightful and eye-opening, and the presentation was, really interesting. It is very, very nice to see those pictures at a time like this where we are all trapped in the houses and we are not in a position to experience the nature. Those photographs actually brought us the ambience and the real feeling. So I would like to thank Chamara sir for bringing us this session. And regarding that design in Anuradhapura, I think that is also very beautiful, thoughtful, and sensitive, because by looking at that, I can feel the colors in Anuradhapura. That means the existing colors of the bricks and all the natural colors. So I think that is my comment. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So can we have someone from level 2?
Yes, on behalf of the batch, I truly appreciate your time you spent joining this rotation session and sharing your valuable ideas with us. We enjoyed and inspired from the every minute of the session, as well as from your marvelous sense on landscape and nature. Actually, we felt those photographs you showed, and we learned a lot from that, and we learned how to feel the nature. And we inspired a lot from your experiences. And thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time spent with us.
Okay, thank you for your appreciation for that presentation and for the design. And one thing I have to say at last, and don't get some pictures when you're going to a site visit. For example, when you're going, I also experienced that. When, for example, in Lunuganga, Melosiyak na tu photo gano kiliya. Don't do that. So you can find some pictures in internet, and also you can get some pictures from your friend. So get a pencil and get a paper or some kind of a notebook and sketch. Maybe if you are not good student with sketching, but at least you have to try. So that is the most suitable way to understanding. Talk with the people. So forget about Lunuk again. When you're going into a village or a paddy field, so try to talk with the villagers and the farmer. So then you can learn a lot of things. So that's why we are learn something, because actually when we talking about me, first I was an architect and traveling is my hobby. Then I thought I'm just traveling, just taking pictures. So what is the meaning? I need some knowledge. What is the meaning? So then actually traveling lead me to do landscape architecture. So that is my experience.
So we have two more questions. The first one is Valpola the abandoned village a good example to see ecological succession because the fields that you are there are not being covered with trees?
Valpola. Actually, I visited Valpola in 2008. So now 13 years now, I think. I don't remember the exact year the villagers left Valpola due to the wild elephant attacks, but at 2008, when we going there are only 7 families lived in that village, but very nice village. I never experienced that kind of a paddy field or that kind of a setting, that kind of a landscape, that elevations. It is very unfortunate to miss that experience from that generation. But I'm sure the roadways will be now, still we can find those roads, but you have to get assist with the some kind of a villager from Ratnimda. Ratnimda is the most close village to Alpalamulla. And it is, maybe it will be a good example for succession. Actually, there are no any pictures or evidence in the present situation in Valpola, but I'm sure the paddy field may be still functioning, still maybe it may be function, because there are a very large paddy field there, but the dwelling areas, that will be some canal there, I remember that, and some the lawn areas for the cattle feeding areas. The small roadway with some trenches, because the villagers put some trenches to avoid the wild animal attack while they are going here and there. I don't know what happened to those things. Maybe the forest will catch those things now, but that will be a good example. But again, I have to say the one village, again, like Valpolamulla, Ramukkoluwa. Actually, we visited Ramukkoluwa and Valpolamulla. We are at the part of Ramukkoluwa is now underwater in Moragahakanda. Actually, those are very interesting thing. Moragahakanda was actually now some small villages are hidden in the water, and now those are in underwater now. If you can visit Moragahakanda area now, in some of the areas, I don't know, in that season, Moragahakanda is full of water because just after the heavy rain in the up country. So you have to decide what is the most suitable time to go. Maybe the August, September, or in April, the low water season. You can see some kind of adaptation, succession, the very good example for ecology. Because I visited there in 2018 while the water was filling. So the villagers are moving from the village, and some cattle feeding areas, and the paddy fields, they are dwelling areas, roadways. 80% was abandoned at that stage. But think about the remains of the roadways, remains of the culverts, and remains of the Chena cultivations. And for example, Kotmale is also a good one. The underwater ruins, but the question is, I think, a good one, because the ecology. Valpolamulla and the Moragahakanda area is I think you can find some good examples for learn ecology, natural ecology.
Okay, so we have another question. We need a short answer for this. This is about the Anuradhapura design you showed earlier. The type and color of the materials used are very important for a design that is close to the environment, but the cost of the design goes against it. Is this a matter of controversy between us and the investor? What do you think about it?
Good architecture and good architectural, good landscape design is a costly one. For example, the Guggenheim Museum, the Louvre Museum, all those good architectural designs in Lunuganga. If you think Lunuganga is a low cost one, Lunuganga brief and most of the Jeffrey Bawa's projects that is not low cost. Okay, good architecture is expensive. Good landscape architecture is also expensive, but you can decide the low cost is not the correct word. The most effective material. Okay, most suitable material. If you can't find the most suitable material, you have to produce it or you have to import it. Okay. For example, in Anuradhapura, the first proposal is we can do paving. Okay, we can do paving. So I personally know. Actually, we got shouted with the engineers, and actually we material. So then actually finally we got some experiments, and we visited to Professor Rangi Kahalwatura, University of Moratuwa, to find some kind of a good material, paving material. So you may heard about Professor Rangika, and Rangika sir very much tried to and gave his full support to us, but unfortunately that was missed. So again, we finally found some good material from a private firm, private manufacturer, clay integrated material. So there are some many questions while selecting materials, because the time is the most concern, because the paving is already there. In Anuradhapura, there are a lot of manufacturers for paving. So we protest for our design. For the design, so we are designers. We have to protect our design. We have to defend it. So as students and landscape architects, you have to defend your design. You have to argue for your design. Okay, maybe that will be a costly one, but that is the most suitable material. You have to select that.
Thank you, sir.
If you need gold for a dagebo or something, you cannot do that one with brass. Okay, you have to import. You have to get gold. So design is the most important one. Design is the final one.
Thank you again, sir. So can someone from the level 3 give us your feedback?
On behalf of our batch, first of all, it was a great form you gave to the term nature and landscape with different expressions to the aspects like movement, culture, spatial quality, etc. And thank you, sir, for refreshing our knowledge and thoughts by sharing the experiences you gained through your professional career, which surely is an inspiration towards our own future designs. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I would like to invite someone from level 4.
Hello, sir. I'm really thankful for sharing your life experiences with us. Actually, it kind of reminds us our level 1 things we did in nature studies, the models we created, and especially the visit to the Kuragal with you. We experienced a lot in that. So I feel really nice to hear from you after a long time, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. So finally, I would like to invite the President of SSLA, Akila Somaratnan, to conduct the vote of thanks. Over to you, Akila.
Thank you, Kamini. Good evening, all of you. Let me start with one of my favorite quote by Albert Einstein. So look deep into the nature and then you will understand everything in better. So I'm sure that today's session was very important for us, as especially landscape architects and the students of landscape architecture. So I would like to take this opportunity to thank our dear guest speaker, architect and landscape architect Chamar Lienagi, for revealing a new side to feel the nature through landscape architecture. So thank you, dear sir, for taking time from your busy schedule to be here with us today. So, and also we have been fortunate to have all our senior staff members, Dr. D.P. Chandrasekhara, architect Janaka Vijayasundara, and the senior treasurer of SSLA, Dr. Gamini Veerasinghe, and the Professor Shirani Balasurya, with their immense support to make all these events a success. So thank you, dear sir and madam. Furthermore, I extend my gratitude to all the internal lecturers, especially landscape architect Shamin Dharamsena and landscape architect Rasul Vanigasekara, for their valuable cooperation given to organize this event. I may also like to express my sincere thanks to all the respected invitees, visiting lecturers of Bachelor of Landscape Architecture Studies in University of Moratuwa. And last, I must thank the organizing team for their tremendous support to dedication to make this event a success. Once again, I thank everyone. Looking forward to meet you again with another valuable event soon. Stay safe. Good night. Thank you all.
Thank you, Akila. Before we conclude the session, I would like to invite you for this month's free talk by Rukraka Ganna on biocurrency, harnessing the unrealized value of trees by Dr. Ranil Senanayaka. Again, thank you all for joining with us today. We hope to see you on upcoming events as well.
I'm also like to thank you for listening me, and I also interested to participate in that session, and thank you for inviting me. And in the future, I will, if you invite me, I also very much like to do something for you always. Okay, and thank you.